All right, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Black Metal Rebellion. I'm your host, Jesse Morgan, and this is Sinister Sunday, episode 14. Today, myself, potentially lists if they show up, are going to be discussing our favorite grind bands and eventually some holy grail items that we're going to be or stuff that we know we'll probably never get because it's so damn expensive. All right, so until the others join, or if they do join, I'll be talking about my favorite grind bands and maybe a little bit of how I got into grind and that. And it's probably going to be pretty short. So if you guys want to ask me some questions in the live chat, feel free. I'll probably be able to get to them because not much is going on tonight until the other panelists join me. So yeah, feel free to do that. And how's it going, Mikey Metal? If you'd like to send in a super chat, that'd be awesome. Help support and make sure your question gets answered. And yeah, so before we get going, I want to thank everyone who has recent Drakir stuff, that being CDs, shirts, bundles, and tapes. Really helped out, helps me more music, and it keeps me inspired to actually go make music. I do working on another EP for Drakir pretty soon. I've also got with a couple other dudes going on. We're gonna be trying to make some blackened Noisegrind. We'll see how that goes. No, we will probably make a page for the project as soon as we actually get some noise made, so we'll see what happens there. To answer Metal Man's question, what's with all the dislikes? Good question. Is probably just the usual, rebellion hating trolls that can't handle opinions on and they find that they have to come to my channel and thumb me down to get even with me for my opinion that they don't agree with. The other dislikes, who knows? I did share the live chat in some of the Metal Amino groups tonight with us, and come see, well, maybe some of those people just decided to thumb it down for jokes. Maybe the topic tonight that we're going to be discussing isn't, their favorite, so maybe they thumbed it down for that. Doesn't bother me in the least. Their naysaying and trolling isn't of my character. It is a reflection of theirs, so let them have at it for all I care. Yeah, thanks again for, merch. Really helps. And I can't wait to start working on some new stuff. Probably get started on the first new Drakir song right here when I got some time. I mean, it's only the 6th of January, so I got some time to make it. And yes, to answer your question, I am on the Metal Amino. I am also on the Black Metal Amino, which are our good big Gala, who runs Azeg's Abyss, also kind of helps run the Black Metal Amino. So definitely go sign up there. A lot of excellent bands being shared on the daily there. Just a pretty decent crowd. I'm also on the punk amino, but they changed the name to Punk and Skins amino. So I'm also on the thrash amino, which is basically dead, which sucks because thrash is awesome and should totally be talked about, and the music should totally. So definitely make sure if you're into thrash metal, you go fucking get that amino app and sign up to the thrash one. So yeah, I'm on 4 aminos right now. I visit them all occasionally, checking in here and there, throwing up some content for my channel if the admins of said amino allow it, because sometimes you're not really allowed to throw up self-promotion for whatever reason. You're allowed to promote other bands and other things, but sometimes they give me a pass because they're just that cool dudes. But yeah. Mikey Metal asks, I want some merch. Do you have a website or eBay account? And do you have or XL shirts? Yes. You can either message me on one of my, social media outlets, being Black Metal Rebellion Facebook page. You can get a hold of me through the personal messaging system on Instagram if you like. Also found at Black Metal Rebellion. Don't feel like dealing with me directly, because I know some people don't. They find it weird, or they find it's too complicated or whatever. You can just go to the Drakir Bandcamp page. So that's drakir666.bandcamp.com. If I'm lagging, because I know my internet's shit, so I'm probably lagging, and I apologize for that, but Canada weather sucks, and thus the internet sucks up here. So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's shite. And as for the CDs and shirts, yes, I've got CDs, tapes, shirts from medium to triple XL, because I know we got some big boys in the black metal community. So yeah, that's all available there. Or like I said, you can contact me on any of my social media outlets. I got a few. Yeah, so do I listen to Rise of the North Star? Never even heard of them. Sorry, Witch King. What metal genre are they? Thank you, Micah. Micah says your new album kicks ass. I appreciate that. I just throw my headphones on, set the click, and just start recording. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I keep the good and hit delete on the bad ones. So you get what you get, I guess, and hopefully it's good. I mean, hopefully other people enjoy it. I don't mind terribly the new Drakir album. The demo, the vocals were just they needed improvement. Let's just put it that way. So the way the new the full length turned out, at some point, pardon me, at some point I'm going to be going back and kind of remastering the full length album I put out, the punk-ish album, the thing that sounds kind of like a bastardized version of the German. The guitars and vocals mixed a little better in that one, and maybe re-release it digitally. And then if anyone has any interest in that, I might put out 10 copies on CD and maybe 5 on tape. I don't know. We'll see. There's not really too much demand for my punk stuff, so there's point in making physical copies of it. All right. So yeah. Thanks everyone for purchasing that, and we're going to be talking about some grind is a very interesting topic, and that's probably why some of the panelists aren't with me tonight, because they're not too familiarized with grind. I know Lord Husk is sick tonight, so he couldn't be here, but I also know grind is his thing. He's more into death metal and brutal death metal and a little bit of thrash here and there. I know. I know Trez is more into to grind and stuff. He should be here with me later on tonight. He's still himself, but he does want to come on here and chat a bit, so we might see him. Azeg from Azeg's Abyss might be here later on as well, but I don't know if I'm allowed to give this information out, but he's kind of in the hospital right now. I don't know why. It should be back soon, so it's probably not too severe. But Azeg, my thoughts go out to you, buddy. Hope whatever's going on right now gets sorted out okay on me. So yeah. Deborah Fernandez says, make a video your punk. This thing, this piece of shit. Maybe we'll see. It's not like I don't want to be honest. I plan on doing a video on my vests, plural. Yes, I've got more than one, because I'm fucked in the head. But yeah, I plan on eventually doing videos on my vest, my winter battle jacket that I got going on. It's just this cheap piece of shit that I got from Walmart and just threw patches and like British cone studs on. So yeah, eventually. I don't know. Do you guys want to see like like sooner, or would you rather see some like collection updates sooner? Because I got like 3 stacks of stuff that need to go through Christmas and whatever that need to be shown off. So I got 2 small stacks of thrash, need to be, and probably 2 small stacks of punk collection updates that need to get done. So let me know if you'd rather see some collection updates sooner, or would you see some Battle Vest stuff sooner. Either way, cool with me. I just assume people come for the collection updates, so that's what I try to focus on doing before everything else. So yeah, and I kind of, when I first got into grind, I couldn't really tell the difference, which is kind of funny because most people, when they just dive first into a new genre, know all the ins and outs of it, and I didn't know all the ins and outs of grind and all that stuff when I got into it. So back when I got into it, grind, brutal death metal, and slam were all kind of the same thing to me. So I kind of listened to whatever I listened to, and I didn't know what to fucking call it. I got to add Trez here to the chat, so just give me a second. All right. And get you invited, buddy. Where the fuck is the invite? There. Let's get Mr. Total Metal Rejection in on here and talk about some fucking grind. Bradley Christensen says, definitely down for the collection updates because I always like seeing what you got. But seeing a Battle Vest video would... So that didn't really determine anything, but I do appreciate the viewership. So basically, you're saying that collection updates is good. So all right, that's cool, man. Like I said, we'll eventually get to some Battle Vest stuff, but I'll probably, if wishes for it over collection stuff, I'll probably do collection stuff first, because the Battle Vests, I feel like I could just do a video on any time, especially on stuff to show for collection updates. So I try to just do collection updates first, so I can get those knocked out. And yeah. Hey, Trez. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, man? Sorry for being late, like always, but fuck yeah. Hey, guys, I'm pretty sick, good. Just in case. No, I'm still fucking sick, so you might see me grabbing these little shits every now and again, but yeah. Cheers.
No worries. Gotta do what you gotta do when you're sick.
Yep.
All right. So I've been kind of just babbling on to the viewers so far. I haven't really got into the grind stuff, saying as kind of how I got into it, and basically just explaining when I did get into it, I didn't really know particularly what I was actually listening to, so it all just kind of came across as like brutal death metal or slam, or didn't really know the differentiation between the three, and I just kind of listened to what I listened to. But when I first started getting into it, it was stuff like Fury Rapist and Abominable Putridity, which obviously now knowing that it's not grind, but that was like one of the first couple of bands that I got into that were in that like really like brutal genre. So
yeah. The way I got into grindcore was I just picked up a tape, which was I think it was I think I heard Brutal Truth before I heard Napalm Death. That's like back in the '90s, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" It's fast. I thought it was some sort of EP or single or something because it was just like everything flew by so quickly. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely Brutal Truth and Napalm Death, and then a bunch of other bands as well. But yeah, grindcore really awesome, awesome genre.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. Like once you kind of get out of like the I guess mainstream metal genres like traditional heavy metal, new wave of British heavy metal, thrash, and I don't know if you could like in that category or not, but like once you get out of those and you start spiraling down the rabbit hole on YouTube looking for suggested stuff, you start finding grind and grindcore, and some of it can be pretty crazy, some of it can be pretty like ridiculously obscure and esoteric. But yeah, for sure. There was another one interesting. They were called Biological Monstrosity. I ended up discovering them. Toilets, like gargled vocals over top of it, and really low tuned guitaring.
Yeah, there's some crazy grindcore bands out there. Obviously, everything was like a build up because getting into grindcore right off the bat is it's very fucking difficult. And like I said, at least growing up, you will have your death metal. Obviously, you're very into punk as well and hardcore, so that has a lot to
Yeah,
do with it because it's like a crossover genre with punk and hardcore and thrash. Then when death metal came about, then you had other bands doing some crazy fast riffing, and obviously the blast beats with Napalm Death coming into the scene. Repulsion,
yeah,
just started doing some crazy stuff, and all that experimentation with those genres and those crazy punk hardcore, early hardcore riffs is just amazing. And there's definitely a bunch of bands that you know um, are very unsung when it comes down to that genre, but sometimes it should be that way too, because if you don't know too much about grindcore, it's because it's I believe it's a slow build up to that, especially grindcore is like very extreme. So definitely
yeah.
not just to go there and just listen to. Definitely, everybody has their own story how they got into grindcore, and to me, it definitely, at least to me, it has to be a semi slow build up.
For sure. I don't know when a reasonable age to recommend grindcore 2 would be. Maybe like mid high school aged people would probably be the first kind of young people to be able to get into it. I don't know if I could see, anything younger than like something getting grindcore or like Noisegrind or shit like that, because to them it would probably seem either too extreme. It would also just noise. And when you're that young, I'm just hypothesizing here, but when you're that young, grasp the artistry and the thought process behind music like that. It's like music like that is more of an art form than it is like music, because it starts crossing that line from music to noise, and when it gets into the noise side of things, it's more of like an artistic
Yeah, yeah.
um,
It's kind of
level
like
of music. Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of like how raw black metal. A lot of people, it's very hard to get into raw black metal, but there's an art form to it, and you have to have a certain ear to understand what they're doing. And grindcore is the same thing, because I feel that I've talked to a lot of people that like grindcore, and I mentioned a couple of death metal bands that I think are, maybe not as big. Let's say a hypothetical big five or big whatever of death metal, but you will mention another band, whether it be Monstrosity, Pessimist, Vader, or something like that, and they're like, I don't know, and they do listen to grindcore, but they kind of skipped over it. I think those probably are the persons that like more faster stuff. And obviously into punk and hardcore, and death metals that kind of brought in all that groove and obviously heaviness and stuff. But for those people that are very into grindcore, I think they kind of probably skipped over some of that music just to go to what they were looking for, because obviously a lot of people like faster stuff, heavier stuff, and they're always pushing, trying to find newer, heavier stuff, and grindcore definitely has that niche for everybody when it comes down to that.
Yeah.
As well as all genres too, but
Yeah, I think you actually hit the nail on the head there. Someone's basically, I feel like you said there, when someone's kind of moved past the point of, all right, I'm enjoying music, and they kind of discover, oh, well, now I'm kind of trying to look for things that are just as fast as possible and as heavy as possible. And I think when someone decides that that's what they're looking for, just the fastest, heaviest kind of, I think that's when they'll start being able to accept and discover grind and gore grind, etc., etc. I think that's the time when someone will start finding those bands and start being able to accept and enjoy them. Yep. Stumble upon that. I want everything as fast as possible, and I want everything as hard as possible kind of mentality.
Yeah. Yep. And that's why, like you just mentioned, Goregrind. I think Goregrind is kind of like that crossover, like we had the crossover thrash bands who doing hardcore and metal and obviously thrash, with Goregrind, or you had that nice grooviness that you're able to go as fast as possible with grindcore, but also slow it down, and that's why we have these awesome bands like obviously. Let's say Ghoul and other bands like Exhumed, even, that are able to go full blast grindcore songs and then able to slow it down. That way you have that nice mix. And I think when grindcore first started, it was just pure fucking speed.
Yeah.
And then, but you got these other bands just slowed it down a little bit, because they also like obviously death metal and all these other genres, so they're able to incorporate all that. And it is a nice, comfortable. It's a comfort spot for everybody, and I think everybody. It all depends on how fast and how fucking slow and groovy you like your music. So yeah, grindcore has definitely music for everybody, because grindcore pretty much doesn't give a shit. It has that fucking punk hardcore attitude that there's no rules to this shit. So which is cool, which you could definitely hear in bands like Agoraphobic Nosebleed and Pig Destroyer and shit like that. So yeah, you could do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, picking up Frozen Corpses Stuffed with Dope by Agoraphobic Nosebleed back in the day. Yeah, the song titles or album titles like that just speak volumes to what you're probably going to be hearing. So yeah, Agoraphobic Nosebleed is a great example of just how out you can get.
Yeah. Really out there. There's some amazing grindcore bands, and what's cool about grindcore, there's so many bands out there, especially throughout the the whole, obviously all other countries, that are so good at it. And it's like you guys, bands like Hemorrhage from Spain, they're just fucking amazing. Another band from Spain, Machetazo, I believe, just great bands. And obviously you got your Extreme Noise Terror, you got all that sick shit happening in Europe too, like Nasum, obviously vocalist of Nasum dying in the tsunami that happened in Indonesia years ago. But yeah, great grindcore band.
Yeah, man. It's just, it's kind of interesting to see how music's evolved in that arena per se, and it, you kind of wonder how did, you know, hardcore kind of evolve into, you know, grindcore and the kind of more noisier versions of it, like Pornogrind and Goregrind. Like, how did someone from, you know, or being in a hardcore band to all of a sudden doing stuff like, I don't know, Torso Fat or
Yeah.
or Reckless Magma and stuff like that. It's like, wow, it's quite the leap. That has something to do with their tastes with hardcore, wanting to go in the metal direction, but not quite being, wanting to go more experimental and kind of see where they can push the boundaries when it comes to like noise elements and pitch shifting, and someone must have had some sort of specific vision in mind, or just accidentally just turned the fucking tempo like down 40 steps on a hardcore song and went, wait, this sounds fantastic, let's do this on purpose now.
Yeah, or must have been a bad gig that they were, that the sound guy, you know, the sound was shitty, and they're just you know, just fuck it, just keep play fuck, let's get some fucking shit going on. You know, obviously when you play everything live, very faster, and probably those guys had that mentality of hardcore and punk, and just mix those two things. That you know, you also have violence type D beat sounding grindcore bands too, and it's like imagine how early day hardcore scene and punk scene was Spitz, and trying to do that thing just heavier, like let's go fucking heavy, and let's obviously everybody into metal and stuff, so you just have a nice distortion. Let's just keep going, and with the early death metal growls and stuff like that, the more bands that did it, I think that that's what obviously helped too, being that not way too, but early in the years, I do know that it was very influenced on punk, as most of their lyrics were very, and had lots of awareness to, you know, what's going on, not maybe towards or what's going on and going around the, you know, like hardcore around them, you know, like where you're at and how you live, and you know, that was a big part of and to this day still now. So yeah, had less
for sure
do with Satan, like death metal.
Yeah, I definitely could see that for sure. It's a shame that there isn't more, like, now I understand why there's not, but it's a shame that there's not more like that were being made during that kind of crossover point from like hardcore into the grind era. I know there's kind of like a Napalm Death documentary, and there's like a little like sort of grind documentary that maybe, but it doesn't really dive too deep. It just focuses on Napalm Death for the most, and talks about bands that are sort of along that line. So it's more like death grind. It doesn't actually go into how hard grind, or how, or why punk is the main influence for it going like into like core and gore grind and porno grind, a lot of stuff. Where metal, and it's unfortunate that that's what they focus on, because I think it would be way more interesting to see how the hardcore members and their friends started going in that direction. It's like, it's kind of like they went, okay, the metal is heavy, but our influences are hardcore and punk. So how do we make hardcore and punk be as heavy and as brutal as metal? And then they kind of just started doing whatever they did to get there. I think it would be neat to see a documentary kind of pick the brains of the people that kind of invented it, and just kind of have that as something to check out. But I'm a documentary kind of nerd. Things were made and stuff like that. So
yeah, a shit ton of documentaries. More than I'm happy. Yeah, it would be what what led that to because once you hear grindcore, you definitely it reminds you of, and not that a bunch of out of death metal, because obviously there's that bridge, but obviously death metal, because I know when early death metal was all about, it had a lot of political, but mainly was very evil and satanic, and most people probably weren't into that stuff. And I know that the hardcore scene, at least I remember, separated, had their own thing. Hardcore.
yeah,
If you want to remember that, a lot of people weren't accepted as well. Um, and the hard, if you went to a hardcore show with a black man, get it.
yeah,
So it's kind of like that. A lot of people that did like punk were into metal as well, and try to do something, um, not to rebel against the metal that was coming out, but to try to find there, because they want shit, and that's what there's, and that's where you see now that a lot of deathcore, I think that it for they got a lot of slack from people that just like death metal, and I understand why, and they're riff sounds or whatever, but it is a subgenre of death metal, and I think that to me that's what how grindcore semi started. Obviously back then was like no fucking holes, but no genre definition. So whoever staked their claim in something new, and this back in the day, you don't know what genre was, and you don't know what people and I the more people clicked on to a particular band, a particular sound, and that formed, then there was more bands coming out like that obviously branched out to a different genre. I'm happy that grindcore went that route, and to me it's a big influence, at least to me, for however the fuck they got there. I would definitely of that too.
yeah. Like when these genres come out, it normally, I mean, before the internet, of course, but before the internet was like a thing, like huge, it normally took somewhere between 5 to 10 years for these new genres to really pick up steam and people to. There's a channel that I watch, and I kind of started getting into them like pretty recently. I think last month or maybe end of November. But the channel is called the Punk Rock MBA. Really cool dude. Seems very knowledgeable. Has some really excellent kind of videos about certain punk-related genres like hardcore, metalcore, post-punk, etc. And like, I really enjoy these videos. And he was basically the one that kind of brought up the point in his videos that, before the internet, things normally took 10 years to become something that gets recognized, and a label finally gets put on it by the fans, or song kind of like music magazine that kind of dubs the scene this. They dub it like metalcore, or they dub it grindcore, or this or that. So yeah, it's interesting now to see how genre is like quickly evolved because of the internet. Things like Goregrind and Pornogrind, and even now Noisegrind, etc., have like kind of evolved like really quickly, as opposed to back in the hardcore and punk and thrash days. It took a bit longer for all.
I think like the point that you made, it took like 10 years for the genre to bloom, I guess. And I know that a lot of hardcore and that's the same mentality with hardcore and punk and and grindcore as well. But I think that the hard body back in the day did whatever they had to do, and it's not music, so everybody struggled to get their shit out, regardless. Um, uh, uh, John, back in the day wasn't fine, but everybody knew about. But it was harder for those bands to get together, do a tour, put out stuff, because everything was pretty much made in their home. All the flyers, not to say any other genre doesn't do that, because all the bands that I've been in, except for one, all done. Um, and I think that's solid. Your grindcore is kind of part of that's we're not gonna fucking people to do shit for us. We're gonna go to have the label cut our account. We struggle for this shit, and we're gonna put out and a lot of what grindcore bands did back then, which was stuff which we didn't have the internet and all that stuff. We only had web zines, fanzines, and try to besides going into a label, because you didn't core bands coming up, at least growing up for me, we only had your typical band rise, again, Napalm wasn't as many. Now the scene is very known and very underground, which I love it for that. It's kind of like and punk, they're very underrated, and because sometimes they do it the hard way. Everybody would like to get paid and have a good but most hardcore and grindcore bands because
Great. Well, I don't know what happened. I just got kicked from the stream. Gotta love Canadian weather. Send Trez another invite or not? I guess we'll see. All right. There we go. Send him another invite. Hopefully this doesn't do this all night. I don't know why it was that bad. I know I got some lag going on, but that was ridiculous. If anyone can still see this or hear this, to answer dude's question about the punk rock MBA not being alive, so how would he know? Well, the punk rock MBA guy, so he claims, knew people that were in the scene back then and talked to them as a merchandise kind of designer, and also works with said bands and whatnot. So also people a little bit while growing up, and he's also kind of in the scene. So he, like I said, he talked to these people, and he's talked to the people that were in the scene pre-internet. So that's how the punk rock NBA guy would know about that. Answers that question. And also, the guy's intelligent. He does his research. He knows how to get information. Obviously, a little bit better. So, give the guy some credit. That's how he knows. Anyways, sorry, Trez. I know you got cut off there. The internet here in Canada is shit during the winter, so.
Oh, it's probably a good point that they cut me off because I don't know what the fuck else to say. But definitely a channel that I would like to check out. Try to find out the early beginnings of that would be pretty cool. But yeah. Grindcore, I just love it. There's like so many concerts, and it's just a good fucking feeling. You want to get more in all other genre that could fuck. If you don't get motivated by listening to a grindcore band, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, good stuff. Great bands.
Yeah, there's plenty of great grindcore bands out there. To the people that say grindcore sucks, man, besides the whole that's just your opinion thing that I'm going to tell you, because saying any genre sucks is just your opinion. But beyond that, like, to appreciate what grindcore is, like me and Trez said, you kind of have to be down that certain rabbit hole first. You have to have already, I think, listened to and appreciated some extreme metal bands and some bands. Because if you've only just listened to metal, or if you've only just listened to punk or hardcore, you might not appreciate what's going on in death grind or grindcore, etc. And I know, like, pure metal hate any sort of core element in their metal. So if you're that type that can't stand any sort of punk or core related element in your metal, to be able to appreciate things like grindcore or Noisegrind or Goregrind, etc. So it's just kind of, you have to be at a certain mind frame in your musical tastes and journey. You can't just throw it on, and that's probably why you think it sucks, because you're not there yet, man. And you might never be there based on some of your musical tastes. So some people will get it, some people won't. Who cares? It is what it is, man. Like, either you appreciate the musician is doing, or you don't, and you move on, or you stick with it, depending on how you feel about it. I personally love grindcore and Noisegrind, etc. Like if you ever listen to a band called Satan's Revenge on Mankind, they're not your typical bowl of soup. There's some really crazy, weird elements going on. If you listen to bands like Sperm Swamp, they add like jazz elements into this kind of like noisy grindcore, thing. There's like Pornogrind elements in there, weird toilet bowl vocals, some like just odd instrument sounds. They're not even like proper notes that are being. And then you'll jump into the Noisegrind section. Like, once you get past like grindcore and death grind, you'll start getting into Noisegrind stuff. The artist kind of comes in, as opposed to the musician, and you really have to be in a when it comes to Noisegrind, because they take basically all of the melodic elements out. They take a lot of like technical advanced musicianship out of and they strictly focus on either how fast they can play, how kind of eccentric and how odd they can make sound. There's a lot of effects going on where sometimes you can't even make out a single note, and it's just a bunch of like digital noise, like literal noise. Like you might hear the odd kind of like raspy electronic kind of dissonance maybe, or some shrieks, but for the most part it's just a blanket wall of noise and percussive sounds.
Yeah, noise is really hard to try to get into. I mean, Jesus. That yeah, you have to have for because it's just gonna whatever they're playing. But again, what have I've been listening to, if you have an open ear and to accept that, because it's very hard. It sound that way, hence the noise part about it.
Yep.
During that whole just wall of sound that you might come across, pick up on one tune that's in there, and that's what the song is about, because again, it's very artistic and it's meant to sound, and it's up to interpretation on just the guitars. Maybe there's just one particular sound, that one wave of sound that goes there, and amount to that. Again, that's up to interpretation, and whatever. It's like staring at fucking art, abstract art.
Yep.
You might not see the same thing. Your senses will be the same. You're the same thing the next person hears. The fuck, I don't understand when I hear that. But then again, when you hear it, it just jump at you and just grab you, and you're like, oh, I see what you're doing, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Again, that's a build up to that genre in particular. Great bands out there.
Yeah, like a really good noise grind band to me is Hydraseal or Hydrasealy. I don't know how to pronounce it, but is really good at what they do. They're really good noise grind. They've got a little bit of guitar riffs here and there, but it's mostly noise and like really just abrasive, percussive kind of instrument stuff. There's also bands like they're more like grindcore with some noise elements here and there. Really good stuff. Girth is another one. I know there's probably like 4 or 5 different bands called Girth, but they're really good. They had a split on vinyl recently with another band that I can't remember the fucking name of, but it was interesting stuff for sure. I ended all of Girth's albums off of their Bandcamp just because I was in a really grindy, noisy mood that day.
Yeah.
There's Dr. Butcher. They're not quite noise grind. They've got some slight like noisy elements in there as well. They're in there. They're kind of fast and like crazy here and there. Their guitaring is pretty like really good. There's kind of obscure weird bands too, like Shotgun Blasted Scrotum Bag. It's a interesting band name for sure. Yeah, that I always praise. Check out Clogged. Clogged is a really good kind of noise. They've got some groove in there as well. They've got some tupa beats, I think, every now and then. They have some interesting stuff in there. It's not just like pure noise grind, but they're really good. What I really like and what I need to see more of, though, is some like blackened bands. The closest thing that I can think of is Damar, and all they have is that Spears of Destiny. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, Damar, really good black noise, black grind band.
You know, I was about to say that about the whole black metal element to it, because now is a good time, because you see a lot of, a couple of years ago you had that were pushing that if you guys heard of Bethlehem, which is a black metal band, it has some very, very heavy riffs into it, as well as bands like Revenge, which is ever Conqueror. You know, a lot. You'll probably see it like black metal, but who have riffs in there like Black Chalice, great band too. That is just even they say it themselves, and it's like pure metal elements to it, which really good, and that I'm starting to see, or that I'm starting to discover. Never discovered them before, but now that I hear, I'm like, oh yes, you know, black metal, and what the fuck. And my nose started leaking, so yeah.
It's all good. Sicknesses happen during winter. The human body is not meant to handle like really cold temperatures, or like
or everybody else
shifts in temperatures
in your house.
Yeah. That's when everyone else in your house gets sick, and you're like trying to like avoid them.
Yep. I was the last one to fall, so it is what it is. But yeah, definitely great grindcore bands. You know what? Growing up as a kid, I guess more into grindcore than all my friends. Shit works out, because I've been in fucking bands, and that's listened to the most shit, the heaviest shit.
Yeah.
And friend, which we started about, we taught each other how to play instruments. How to put fucking straps on the guitars, because we were. He's
That's
now
fun.
in a band with thing. I don't know if they're still active, because they from Florida to um and the least person that I've known that he's listened to grindcore with a label and everything, so that's fucking amazing. So yeah, he's which grindcore band from Florida, moved to California, the whole band, so they're just still trying to work shit out, so hopefully they release another thing. But yeah, they released 3 albums. It's just fucking crushing it. And all the years that I spent with this dude, listened to grindcore bands, and like, what the fuck. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I honestly would like to see some more kind of like noise elements being introduced to like mainstream metal bands. Like, it would be kind of neat. Like I could see thrash maybe dabbling in some like grind elements or some noise elements, but still like remaining to be as thrash as they can, but like also throw in like and noise grind elements or something like that, just to keep it like spicy and new. It'd be neat. And wouldn't be that hard. I mean, I know there's already death grind, but like basically like a pure death metal band, but then they end some god grind or noise grind or gore grind element here and there, but then go back into the death metal. Just kind of just like little spurts of the element thrown in would be neat. And obviously black metal. Obviously, like, just have like a black metal band that's mostly black metal, and then throw in lots here and there of like noise or grind or whatever elements. Just would be neat, because I know there's bands that like try to just be one single thing, and that there's just thrash that just tries to be thrash. There's black metal that just only wants to be black metal. There's grindcore that's only not much else. I think it'd be neat to see some more blending of these genres for sure.
Yeah, because you could see it in black metal. You know, all how the are pretty much the same as whether you're doing it in punk or it's pretty much the same thing. And black, if you listen to your typical black metal band, is blast beats and is what grindcore is, just more stuff like that, more punkish, hardcore, deep beat, beat. I could see black metal incorporating a lot of grindcore, and that would be fun. Just to go to some E shit, and it would be seamless to do a grindcore thing, a grindcore band, just to do some epic finish it off, or just in the middle part there would be really good to listen. Would be a fan of that shit for sure.
Yeah, for black metal, they've already got the tremolos and stuff, so it wouldn't be that hard to kind of stitch in some grind elements or throw some noise elements over top of, just add some effects to the guitar and add some effects to the drums with some black metal screaming over top of it. So yeah, that'd be pretty easy to fit it in, and I'm surprised not too many people have kind of caught on to the idea that that would be either good to do or fun to experiment in, because if these black metal people who want to stay true or cult to mainstream stuff, since black metal is kind of slowly now kind of becoming, you would think that adding noise elements or grind elements now to be less accessible in there would be the next step to remain true,
Yeah, they're trying to be, I guess, true or whatever. Black metal would be a nice to make more I guess infamous, because cars are now and always. So being how I guess popular and more accessible black metal, not popular but more accessible, I should say, that would be a good route to go to. That much more difficult to your regular person to get into, and the whole point of both genres, to make it that much more difficult for your common person to get into, and you gotta be a certain type of person to get into those. You gotta do those genres. So yeah, I can see that definitely, and I don't think I would have wanted any other way. To really like, damn, you have the word says just like video games, you have to grind that shit, and to get into that genre, definitely not for everybody. Once you do like one or two grindcore bands, I see it difficult, like any other grindcore band. Understand it. By that point, I think you definitely understand it. I fucking understand it. You can get past, find a riff that you like. It's that much more accessible to any genre. But grindcore is definitely with the heaviest shit ever. So definitely, you have to have a year for.
Yeah, and it's once again, it's not a genre, and talking about the whole grind spectrum, it's not for everyone, and there's a reason for that. It's not supposed to be accessible. It's not so parents can pick out of your your collection and be like, "Ooh, this is nice, Jimmy. Why don't we throw some of this on in the car while we go to Walmart. You know, not supposed to be that kind of experience. It's supposed to be for people who have kind of lived, you know, the extreme life a bit, the extreme music scene, and kind of delved into that already feel, I guess, outcast and already feel like they're not fitting in with what mainstream society wants of them. It's for the people that want something to connect to when they no longer connect to anyone else.
Yeah.
And you kind of, you're not really like earn your stripes per se, but you kind of have to go down a certain walk of life before you'll connect with that kind of music. And I mean, you don't have to be an artist yourself. You don't have to be a musician yourself to specifically get it or like it. But the people that are into this kind of stuff, they're not your, you know, navy hoodie wearing, khakis, beige fucking sandals wearing at the mall with his Barbie looking girlfriend shopping for Scentsy candles at Bath and Body Works. You know, like you're not going to see some dude like that and living that kind of lifestyle, listening to that kind of music. I mean, here maybe there is, but you know, it is normally the kind of bottom of the barrel, just getting by kind of individual who has fucking heaps of stress in their life that need this eccentric, esoteric, dark music to let them get stress out and let them be able to kind of just, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I think it's not your average person who's going to get it. It's supposed to be for your average person, and I kind of also enjoy that. I'm not one of those kind of like, I don't know how to say it, but like those kind of special snowflakes that if a certain genre or two band gets too popular, that it's like, oh well, I'm not going to listen to them too because they're too mainstream now, or they're too well known and it's not special enough for me. But you know, it's not like that. It's just it's I feel like you only, when there is that kind of obscure connection for whatever you've been through in life and the musical journey you've been through in life too. Like you don't just go from listening to, I don't know, Metallica and Alice Cooper to all of a sudden listening to Blacks and Rompa Prop. You know, like there's a little bit of an evolution.
Yeah, there's definitely a evolution because, you know, like I could say the same thing about that point, and you know, it's probably people look at grindcore. I'm like, I don't know, how'd you get over there? You know, but there's obviously a depth to get there, and I know that like grindcore, power metal is like out there, accessible to everybody, but it takes a sort of person to dive into it and understand it and accept it and to enjoy it as well. Because, you know, get into, at least for me, might be easy for everybody to get into, but I'm definitely on the fence on it. But that, you know, obviously that's just me. Grind, a genre that, you know, truly believe that it's how heavy to listen to certain things. If it's not as heavy for me, it was like, you know, I want to see what else is there that's, you know, and what's this and what's that. And, you know, when it came up to grindcore, I was like, and obviously grindcore stuff like Pornogrind, Noise, but it's only for those people that are willing into just to wet their feet and test the waters and willing to dive into that genre, that you're gonna find some sort of enjoyment. It's not for everybody, obviously. There's no genre for everybody. Um, Depends on, like you said, go into the rabbit hole. How far deep do you want to fucking go? And do you feel, if you don't, go back a couple of steps.
Yeah.
But for those,
do you want the red pill or do you want the blue pill?
Exactly, to definitely want to bit more shit for you out there. So I fucking love it, and obviously I have my day. Grindcore is like hardcore, at least for me. I want to feel um I know grindcore is very different in their lyrics. I know hardcore is very positive, but that's what I feel. Grindcore motivates me, how hardcore motivates me, and I think is that fucking clutch that they have with each other, because the riffs are so similar, but obviously different because of the blast beats or just general heaviness of the music. Whether it be vocals or just lyrics alone, just more vicious, but depends on whether you choose to listen to it or not. But it's whatever you feel, and grindcore does that for me too. Definitely when I want to do something, because I don't see how it couldn't, at least for me.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly. I mean, we all get scared and motivated by different things, and once you've kind of gone down the rabbit hole, you can only or satiate that urge or that itch with certain like genres and stuff too. And you said you're very positive and uplifting and motivates you that way. There's also someone just mentioned, they said not all hardcore is positive. And I hence the band Negative Approach. They're very like angry, very kind of pessimistic, very I hate you and I hate myself kind of like lyrics as well. Like, great band. Negative Approach is awesome.
Yeah.
On the back of this vest, actually. But yeah, so it doesn't necessarily have to motivate you or uplift you because the music is happy or positive. It's just you get when you listen to these bands is kind of gives your stomach, it doesn't necessarily have to be uplifting or positive music itself, but what it does for you and your levels, it just puts you in that nice kind of like stress-free mood. It gets your happy neurons firing, and it's nice that that kind of music can do that for you when turning on the radio isn't going to do the same thing, or on your dad's your dad's Megadeth records or your dad's Misfits records might not do the same thing for you. You gotta listen to some shit like Butcher MD or like fucking Barbara or fucking the thing in the crawl space, the body in the crawl space. Yeah, that just aren't your parents' music or your angsty teenage cousins bands like I don't know, Asking Alexandria or Black Veil Brides. Like, that shit's not going to do it. Grindcore is a place where grindcore and noise grind are dudes that have felt pain, and that's where dudes like us come to sit and listen to and breathe a bit after the day, like a day of morons and stuff like that. Like, it's just nice to be able to sit and bask in the glory that is kind of not quite music, but not quite an OV. Somewhere in between there. Some concussive riffs, like maybe some electronic, harsh electronic noise going over it, while some do a tin can with a pickup in it. Just stuff that could like really resonate in that weird kind of just only you way. Like it definitely speaks to me on a level that definitely wouldn't have 10 years ago. There would be no way I'd be listening to bands like that. It just didn't resonate with me yet. I didn't travel far enough down that wormhole. Before I go on about more of this stuff, I do want to shout out my buddy. He's got a channel called Gore Fucking Noise, and I think he's got his noise band on there. So definitely go check out Gore Fucking Noise. There you go. Nice, bud. He actually just posted. So yeah, go check out his project. Dalen, talented artist and musician. So definitely shout out to him and his stuff. Shout out to his buddy. What's his name? Hold on a sec. Gunner. Shout out to Gunner Fields. He also has some amazing bands that he works in and stuff like that. He is in a band called Renal Hydronephs, and he also has a band called Rectal Cyst Injection. Yeah, and some bass and backup vocals for a band called Fecal Regurgitation. And also check out, I don't even know if I could pronounce this. Oh, I already said it. Renal hydrophenosis. Hydronephrosis.
Damn.
See, this is why Goregrind bands put like acronyms with X's in between.
What's X's in between?
Oh yeah, shout out to you dudes. Thanks for making that crusty noise.
Yeah, but just to answer that obviously grind, it's not very uplifting. It's very sometimes depressing because obviously most of the on social problems and political and also mental well and yeah, I mean, make you feel better and uplifting. It's just the way it sounds. So if it's ill, it'll definitely get you motivated. And at least when I go to work, I put on some Nasum and regurgitate and general surgery and shit like that.
Nice.
That'll get me fucking going. Obviously work sucks, and music like that definitely get me fucking going. Do what I gotta do just to get home.
Hell yeah. Almost 9:30. Do we want to maybe talk about some holy grail items that we were going to be never adding to our collection?
Never. Yeah, I got a bunch. Definitely got a bunch. No, definitely talk about. I gotta fucking pee, but yeah, I'm peeing from my nose and from obviously my testes, but handle my testes first. But yeah, definitely holy grail. I'll be right back.
While Trez goes and takes care of that, Some Holy Grail items that I'm probably in the future that I would totally love to, but I'm not going to spend over $100 on Discogs just to get them because fuck that. The main one that I'm probably never going to own, that's Owl's Blood, and that pretty much one of their. I think the cheap Owl's Blood release is their one demo or EP. It's on cassette, and I'll probably never own that. But I think the cheapest I've seen one of their cassettes go for is maybe 35 or 40 Canadian shipping. So yeah, I'm not spending $35 on a cassette tape plus shipping. So fuck that. But I would really love to own some Owls, which is, I believe, some Philippine black metal. There's somewhere like in a really obscure place like that. That's one. So Owl's Blood. Another one that always goes for this, and most people probably wouldn't even think they're that great of a band, but the band I'm talking about is Yellow Eyes. They had an album called In Bloom, and I was able to get a copy of that on CD. That's just the shitty, thin, fucking digipack. But they got like a couple of other like EPs out, and like they've got, I believe, a full length out before that too, and they all go for ridiculous prices. It's just, it sucks because if you liked In Bloom, then you want to get these other Yellow Eyes albums, and they just, I don't think either they're not repressed or they don't care about repressing them, and they're happy that they're obscure. I know there's probably some bands out there that are like pretty impressed with themselves that they've got some like ridiculously obscure releases out there, like 50 to 100 fans are going to have a copy of. I mean, that's cool of you, bro. It's cult points. But man, what about the rest of us that want to listen to your music on a physical copy? Like, I don't want to just go to fucking YouTube and download each individual song so I have a copy of your album. I actually want to, I want to support the artist. I want to put some money out and actually buy the fucking album. I don't want to buy an album from a scalper on Discogs, so it's unfortunate. Sometimes.
Discogs.
So yeah, so Owl's Blood, basically anything you have at a reasonable price, which will never happen, and those like first EPs and one other album by Yellow Eyes before the In Bloom album, or I wouldn't mind getting, but I'm not going to spend, like I said, $50 plus shipping on a cassette, or over $100 and $30 or $40 on a vinyl by Owl's Blood. So never going to own those, but I would love to.
What are you talking about? Holy Grails now?
Yeah.
Damn, Holy Grails. Woo. Damn. I missed out on a bunch of stuff when you're broke, and you try to keep up, especially try to keep up with as much shit as possible, and then the box that comes out. I think, at least for me, because I like Nile. I think I seen on Infidel Amsterdam when you see his videos and you see like a pyramid that's on top there. I don't know. I'm like, what the fuck? That's one of them that I'm hunting down, but very lazy because I know it's gonna be really expensive. So
yeah.
I haven't really looked into it, but that will be one of. Let's see. Damn, Holy Grails. I think I'm fucking up with, but oof. Holy Grails will trying to find bands that obviously I like, but trying to find their either first print or second print, but doesn't really matter because I know that you know, if as long as I get the band or the material, um, doesn't really matter. But on certain bands, sometimes it does, but all depends. I'm willing to spend on it. Like, you know, when you mentioned Discogs, I'm like oh, fucking hell. Because that's one bad thing about Holy Grails is um, flippers. Encountering those dudes, you know, because once something comes out, they're willing enough to one or two of them and hold on to them, and then just for a better price, you know, and that fucking sucks. Sometimes I don't have the money for it, and when these apps,
Yeah.
and then they just go ahead and just raise the price up on it because they know it's gonna be a limited edition, colored vinyl or some other bullshit, you know, comes with a keychain or something.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a Watain
Oh,
release. I think it's like a Die Hard one, and it has like their symbol on a pendant. I think Canyon Bickle has it, and I keep seeing it in his videos. I'm like, God damn it, I want that fucking necklace, man. That's sick looking. But yeah,
the Wild Hunt, or I don't know if it's the Wild
uh,
Hunt, but I know there was a wooden that. Son of a bitch. Huh.
yeah, I don't have like $60 or $70 plus shipping to get these like special wooden box versions with like an amulet and this and that in it. I just, man, I barely have the $20 to pick up the next black metal album at a normal price, man. So
Yeah, some stuff is pretty cool. Some stuff I aim to say some of the prices that I've spent on certain. I'm like, fuck, you know, I have the money. You know, damn it. One of them is an Embalmer edition Hell's Headbangers release vinyl that came out. That it was like you know, a cardboard box that had like Velcro on it, but on the cover it had a fucking and attached to the fucking box. That was pretty cool. It's a picture disc and shit. That would be one of the that I definitely love, definitely for it, and I'm ashamed for that because you shouldn't pay for it. But if you don't jump on when you probably should, or maybe you don't have the money to for it, all depends on how it goes, you know, because that's why there's, you know, you don't have the money for them, and then you regret not trying to you know, just to get that shit, and then when it becomes a holy grail for
yeah,
you, it's like fuck, it's because unavailable. So yeah, to have one that I'm gonna show here that's like could bring it down, no cause too much of a problem. So I'll be.
all right. Well, while he's getting that, how's it going, Azeg? Glad you're on your way back. This bud. Hopefully you get home safe. Yeah. When is a power metal stream coming? Probably never, unless one of the other Rebellion family members want to talk about it, because I don't really listen to power metal unless you count Falconer as power metal. Then I listen to one band that is power metal. So I don't know if one of the other Rebellion fit, then you know maybe we'll bring them on here and I'll just kind of host and let them talk about it. But probably won't be much coming out of my um yeah. So, anyways, back to more Grails. Another Grail that I'm on is probably some trader stuff, but they're not super expensive. And if you don't know who Trader is, they're like a thrash metal band, I believe from maybe Brazil. I'd have to look it up, but their albums are normally like around $30 plus shipping or more. And I don't. I mean, I like thrash, but I'm not into it so like crazily. Be spending like anything more than maybe $20 Canadian on a thrash album. So I don't know. I just couldn't justify that. So it's kind of a Grail item. It's an obtainable Grail item, but it's just one of those things that's probably going to take a while before I actually pull the trigger on it. So
you said Trader, right?
Trader, yeah, the thrash band.
Yeah, it's a good thrash metal band.
From Hamburg, wherever the hell Hamburg is.
Germany, I think they're.
Germany?
Yeah.
I'm just checking it out on Bandcamp.
Yeah, I think I bought that friend actually. Yeah, fuck. Too bad.
I don't know if it's
Back then. Yeah, that's the.
That one, Venomizer?
Yeah.
It's going to show
Yeah,
up?
I don't
Probably
even
not.
have, yeah. Yep. No, it shows. I know which one you're talking about. I
Sweet.
bought a gift to my bandmate. I dumbass didn't buy one for myself, but he has one, which I don't think he listens to too much. So I'm a suck. But definitely a Grail. I wish that would have been here. She would have been fucking proud. But definitely this one. I seen this somewhere, and there's still some available. If I could get it out. I'm making a video. This is the box set of Lividity. I don't know how. Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
So obviously a Viber 15 out of. I don't know how good that comes out. But yeah, Lividity. Which I just recently purchased another. That comes with.
Nice.
Obviously, album shirt, which is pretty cool. It comes with little brush for your vinyl. There's Lividity there, and obviously the album name here, Perseverance. I think it. And what else? Obviously the vinyl and a poster. Just for obviously poster for the album art. You know, the sickest I ever see. And obviously the vinyl. To be honest, I don't remember if it's colored or not, but at this point, I don't really care. It's really fucking awesome. I know the other ones that I'm getting in the mail. Definitely gonna make a video for that. Definitely a Grail for me.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, but that's the only thing that I have here that's regarding of is expensive. Very, very unfortunate. Involves a lot of flippers, which I'm not. I don't want to give them the benefit. You know, don't want to give them the joy to give them my hard-earned money. Something that I fucking missed out on because, you know, again, it's one of those jump on. Like we all probably don't jump on certain things that we wish we did, hence why they're grails to us. But
Yeah.
when we're able to get something you know, it's that much more meaningful, and you're like, fuck yes. It's like what do you call it? Fucking albums and bands that you want to get. So yeah, definitely one of them. And for me, another from the band Macabre, because I. Yeah.
Well, another one of the Grails for me was at one point it was the first two albums, but they luckily got re-released last year, so I ended up getting the finished Steel Storm and the Honor one or Dishonor or whatever it's called. I don't know where the hell it went, but yeah. Yeah, the finished Steel one. Where the hell did it go? Is that it? No, that's Godseed. Oh, there it is. Something. I'm gonna knock this tower over. Shit. All right. Come on out of there, you bastard. Fuck. Okay. Well, that was a pain in the ass. So yeah, get a copy of
the Goat Moon,
Storm.
right? Yeah,
Goat Moon.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, and I ended up getting a copy of this as well, the Dishonor, the first album. So that was nice. So those were Grails at one point because they weren't, re-released, and they were costing like so much money on eBay whenever they popped up because Discogs banned them because it, heaven forbid extreme music be extreme, But yeah, glad to have got those. And then I need to eventually get some Obscuritatum. I don't know.
Obscuritatum.
Sometime.
Obscuritatum. Not familiar with.
Wyatt X Him kind of goes on about, or used to go on about them a lot because they're kind of his like thing for a while. But yeah, I also enjoy Obscuritatum. Wouldn't mind, but they're one of those bands that only release like a really small handful of physicals, and then that's it. You're fucked basically until they do a re-release. It's like, like I could see, independent, low levels, like, let's say myself, Drakir, to release maybe, 10, 20, 30 copies. But Obscuritatum, as obscure Obscuritatum is, they still have a huge following in the underground and would totally be able to, press 400 CDs. They'd totally be able to press 500 vinyls, but they don't. They press like these small, low numbers, even though they're highly sought after because it's cult. It's got cult points to only release numbers of shit. It's like, okay, but people want your stuff. Do you or do you not want to make money? Like,
I think part of that is probably the label too. They only release quantity, even though it's like, why?
I don't know.
Just attention to it. I understand stuff that's limited, like that whole Watan wooden box, or I forgot what band actually has like little skull fragments into their box set. But yeah,
I think I think Recluse did something like that.
What was it?
I said I think like that, or Recluse, or however you pronounce that band.
Yeah. That's it. It had like little skull fragments and little shit in there. Yeah, Recluse.
Yeah, it came with it came with this little pouch of something or scrolls or something that came in.
Yeah. that's obviously very limited, but see something that I'm like, why is this? Why make this limit? Like, come on. I understand that, you know, when they have like little certain little items that make it that much more special. You understand why it's like, holy shit, there's like only um 20 ever made, or 50 or 100, and that's why. Then you're like, holy shit, okay, I see why. But um when it, like okay, you could just print that same vinyl. I don't see what's so, but I think part of that is the labels that the whole hype up, you know, even though
Yeah.
repress like like that whole arch code Power Master split. Um, you know, I got the second press. I think it was the silver one. The first one was like, oh my god, you know. And when I got that one, I was like, wow, this silver one is fucking awesome. And there's been, they released like at least 4 of those. There's one Blood Moon or whatever you call it, Blood Red, final that's fucking awesome. So I don't. It's not like that Slayer album that they released that had like some fake blood, oh vinyl stick, easy blood thing into it. Okay, I understand that. Maybe you release 100 and out there, and they're like, oh shit, you know, if you had that, you know. But if it's some simple that it's just a vinyl change or something, I don't get that, and I don't see why that should be so fucking limited.
Yeah. A regular edition of something, and you know it's going to sell well. There's no need to make it like only 100 copies or you know, whatever. But they do it. They do it anyways. So, and if you're not on top of it right away, you're fucked. And for people like probably you too, but who have like years of shit to catch up on before they go buy the new album by said band, I'm fucked. Like, you know, if there's like a special edition copies of the new Craft album that no one seems to give a shit about, I'm already trying to catch up on old, you know, Marduk stuff. I'm trying to catch up on old Satyricon stuff. I'm trying to catch up on like old Gorgoroth or whatever. But the new came out, 100 copies, and sucks to be if you don't get it. I'm screwed. And a lot of these bands do that. They put out a certain really limited amount, catch up on other bands stuff before I pick out the new, you know, whatever. That's why it took me so long to get the new Immortal Northern Chaos Gods, because I've been trying to get, like, I'm not even in black metal, you know, super duper collecting phase right now. I'm kind of in more of a thrash metal collecting phase at the moment, but I'm out and I'm like, fuck, like a new Immortal just came out. I love Immortal. I need that band, or I mean, I need that album. I just ordered like 5 thrash things, and I don't really have the money for this now. So it's like, damn it. How do you keep up?
You know, the one of the first videos that I did on my channel was ramblings of a metalhead. It takes me a long time to adjust to a new format because I remember tapes. I love tapes, and then it was CD. I fucking loved. Fuck, man, vinyls. Fuck. So, um, um, I made a promise to myself, even in that video. I'm not. I'm going to try to get the albums that mean a lot, and you know, broke that in that video, because you know I was looking, you know, that I grew up with, like Hypocrisy, Sinister, you know, shit like that, and not every single album from them, but you know the albums that Sanity and shit like that,
Yeah.
and but like you said, know, you know, them. Then this album came out. I think it was one of them that I think it was a limited. I didn't need to get the mysterious dome Satana that came in a gold fucking double gate, and I'm like, oh shit! I'm like, I'm doing this right now, but if I get shiny, I gotta get it, and I got it, but it was like, it's like, it's. I think they definitely do it. Obviously, make some money time the bands do it because obviously, you know, there's, but it's so hard to fall for those little traps. Because I had a set that I was like, I'm only gonna get that I grew up and just to have it, I'm gonna do this all other stuff. But I got so involved with the whole limited edition thing that was coming out, only certain amount of them to jump on this, and some of those albums too. You gotta. You've told me this. Some of these things is coming from overseas or different countries, and it takes, for one thing, it takes it takes forever to get, and then you save up money just to get those things that you miss out on like 10 other things that you could have easily gotten if you didn't go for that. So, you know, you're like, oh damn, you know, I'm getting something really good. I know I'm getting something really good. Counterfeit is legit, but really needed it. I don't know, because I missed out on 10 things that I could have gotten that I can't. So it's very hard to get holy grails, and sometimes it's like definitely a bait from labels, and I understand why they're doing it, but it's the temptation is very hard not to fall for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely hard to kind of weigh what's worth it and what isn't when, like, especially when you're a collector and you're like this would look really good on my shelf right there, along with the other things. But the price that I got to pay for this is worth, you know, 5 albums that I could be filling these holes with instead. It's like, do I spend $40 on this kind of 100 press on blue splatter thing that, you know, whatever, or do I just, you know, save that money and get like 5 or 6, you know, other thrash or black metal albums that don't cost nearly fucking that much?
You're stuck, definitely. You know, if you're a collector, you're in a predicament where, like, you know, I could easily these bands that I know, you know, and get these bands that I've been listening to. I could easily afford 10 vinyls right now, or CDs, or whatever format it is. And there's this new one that comes out that's like 50 only. I don't know, $30 or $40, and you're like, fuck. Jump on it because you know they're going to go quickly. So you got to on the back burner those albums, and it keeps piling up. And you know, as a kind of mind fuck is like, fuck. That's why it's so hard to, you know, especially everybody's throwing shit in your face and you're looking at everything. But now the whole last year for me, but last year I bought a bunch of limited edition stuff on so much stuff that I have so much to catch up to one of my New Year's resolution. You know, I'm gonna buy 2 vinyls every Friday or something within that month. I'm gonna try to look into what's limited edition and try one of them. so a steady
Yeah.
it's, you know, it gets very quickly.
Yeah, definitely does, man. It piles up quick, money wise, and it just, you kind of have to weigh your how valuable things are. It's just, well, and another thing too, like if you're a content creator like us, it, well, it's not super duper expected, but the audience kind of expects like a collection update on a regular basis, whether that be every week, every 2 weeks, whatever. And very limited income like I do, like I only have the stuff coming right now because of, you know, birthday and Christmas money and selling a few things. But otherwise, like my collection updates are like few and thin between. Um, and if I'm buying 30 or 40 or $50 vinyls, that's like 2 or 3 or 4 CDs I could have got and showed off in a class. I like,
Yeah,
personally,
definitely.
yeah, personally, I like to watch when people have like around 5 or 6 items at a time to show off. I don't really like to go and watch like a 2 minute video of someone showing off one vinyl or like two vinyls or whatever. Like, it's just me that I don't really enjoy seeing like 1 or 2 items at a time, and then that's the end of the video. It's like, oh no, show me more, show me all of the things, man. Like, so I try to personally have around, yeah, I personally try to have 4, 5, 6 per collection update, because I know people like, they like to see collection updates, so they're going to want to see more stuff in said update. If I just came on here and be like, hey, see you in 2 weeks, they'd be like, the fuck, I'm out.
Yeah, because obviously you buy one thing for one band, you know, you're just like, oh, you know, but obviously all these labels too at the same time. $20 spin, Iron Bonehead have like sales every fucking week, pretty much, and really good deals. CD and Records has really great deals that you just collect and stuff. But if your item, I know as a, you know, I guess content creator, it's really hard because, you know, you have your own personal taste and what you want to get, and if you don't jump on it, it's out. Um, but at the same time, it's like, how much am I willing enough to spend on? And last year I spent a lot of stuff, which I don't, limited edition stuff, but again, um, love to spend equally the same amount um, that I love, and I wish I would have gotten just to enjoy them, and have this big backlog of stuff that I do want to get, and bands that I have. So it's kind of like, sure, uh, a point to myself that I'm definitely gonna get more bands, and um because we're all collectors, and to do more, to everybody else, you know, check this band out, check this band out, instead of me just, hey, fucking thing that I got, hey, you know,
Yeah.
look at me,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because that I think the more the music that's put out there, you know, is it by you, by me, by anybody else, or commenting. You know, I love that shit when people say, "Yo, check this band." Yeah, I didn't know about this band. It gives me enough to listen to, which is, you know, always good. It's like tape trading. We do each other, and the more that you, and obviously you get that stuff by buying from the bands, buying from labels, get copies, which is very important. And the more you have it, the more you could share. And to me, that's the part, because the more I could share with everybody, they could share with me too. This, oh yeah, you know, what did you think about? Oh shit, I didn't know about if I just show you one band, like this is all I got, and this is all I spend my money on, which at the same time is good because is a grail to you. Say why is a grail to you and what means to you, which is very understandable for who's collecting. I'm that this year because it costs a lot and I don't make as much.
Yeah.
And plus there that deserve, I guess, more attention, and the more I share, I think the have people sharing back with me. It's one thing to show out off, but it's much more cooler when you fucking back and forth, and I got to check this one out. I also got this one, which is totally cool. So yeah, definitely gonna do that more.
Yeah, for sure, man. And speaking of things like that, like if I didn't see the Dinosaurs band,
The vomiting dinosaurs.
yeah, the Vomiting Dinosaurs. If you didn't do that video, I would have never known about them. So, cheers to you for introducing me to that band. And I guess, and Grails, and that's just kind of what Grails are. Grails basically just mean band or albums that mean a lot to you because of how much you enjoy their music, and because of how rare it is and how expensive it is. So it depends how valuable or how much you place value on that album or band. If it's just a grail because maybe you don't need it as much as a grail that you find is just you really love that band, have everything because you think they're so good and they bring you that much happiness. So I would say that kind of a grail is definitely worth getting over. Whereas if it's just a grail that costs a lot of money but doesn't really mean as much to you, you just kind of want it in your collection, maybe the really expensive is worth it as the grail that means a lot to you band wise is just hard to find. So it's now 10 o'clock. Do have to wrap this up. So thank you, Trez, for joining me on this. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on grind. Thank you for sharing with us your thoughts on Grails and some of your Grails that you're looking out for. Really appreciate it, bud. Go, if you have not already, check out Trez from Total Metal Rejection. Check out some of his videos and consider subscribe. Thank you to everyone in the chat that has participated in the stream, helping me out for the first half an hour of the show or so, giving me something to bounce off of and some feedback here. So that's great, you guys. Really appreciate that. I thought it was going to be a very lonely stream at first. So anywho, that's been Sinister Sunday number 14. Favorite grind bands and Grail for glory for the rebellion. Sinister Sunday over.